And another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Another cruise line files for bankruptcy. There's a shipyard where they're taking the whole summer off because they can't pay their employees. We've got a classic cruise ship going to the scrapyard. It's a pile of junk in today's episode of the Lido Loca Cruise Show, but there are some highlights. Let's just get into the show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lido Loca Cruise Show. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'm your host, Tony. If you enjoy that cruising and travel content, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any daily cruise updates. Well, like I said in the intro, we got a pile of junky cruise news to get through. But before that, let me tell you how you fine folks responded to yesterday's question. I said, when you go to a port, do you like to go to the beach? Do you like to go to sightsee? Or do you like to shop? And the majority of you guys said you like to sightsee. Sightsee wins the day for yesterday's question. But there was some caveats, some clarifications, people saying depending where we were going, that kind of thing. But for the most part, I think a lot of people like to go out and sightsee. Again, it's that cruise life. You can do whatever you want. I just find it fascinating to see what people are into. So yes, if you answered sightsee yesterday, you were in the majority. And if you didn't, you're just a bunch of rebels. No, it's okay. But let's take a spin around the big old steaming pile of cruise news. The first one, a sad story. I talked about this cruise line just recently. Cruise and Maritime Voyages in the UK has gone into administration. What is administration? That was the first question I had. Well, it's like Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That's what I heard the equivalency was for U.S. bankruptcy law. But here's the definition. Administration in the U.K. law is the main kind of procedure in U.K. insolvency law when a company is unable to pay its debts. The management of the company is usually replaced by an insolvency practitioner whose statutory duty is to rescue the company, save the business, or get the best results possible. I did some reading, some research. I'll give you what I feel like the summary is. When you go into administration, they appoint a specific person. Their main goal is to get creditors paid off. This stops any litigious activity against the company. Creditors can't sue the company while they're in administration. And the goal is to get the company returning to operation through better management, through getting debts paid off, restructuring, that kind of thing. This is one step before insolvency, which insolvency basically means that the company is going to be dissolved. They're going to sell all the assets, that kind of thing. Not to that point yet. This also affects Transocean Tours in Germany that's owned by Cruise and Maritime Voyages. They don't have a huge fleet. They've got a few ships, the Astoria, the Astor, the Vasco da Gama, the Columbus, the Magellan, and the Marco Polo. See, it's me, a Marco Polo. Have you seen that Geico commercial? I laugh every time. So that's 6 ships. Now, interesting, the story I had, Carnival getting rid of some of their older cruise ships. They were taking 2 ships out of P&O Australia, and they were selling them to Cruise and Maritime Voyages. So this was supposed to happen in 2021. There were still going to be P&O sailings in 2021 before it moved over to Cruise and Maritime Voyages. I don't know what implication them going into administration has with that transaction. But yes, this was the destination for a couple old Carnival cruise ships. And now I don't know what's going to happen. So another victim claimed by the crisis, a cruise line that was sailing before any of this happened, is now in administration. Hopefully they can get restructured, and hopefully they can come out of this still as a business. Hopefully it doesn't transition from administration into insolvency. But yes, that transitions well into our next story. We know that Pullmantur has gone into bankruptcy, some of their ships going to the scrapyard, and now what is being classified as the first mega ship ever is going into the scrapyard. Classic ship, first part of the Royal Caribbean International Fleet, ended up at Pullmantur. It is what was called the Sovereign of the Seas, or the Pullmantur Cruises Sovereign, now heading to the shipyard. And of course, that shipyard's in Turkey. What kind of scrapping business does Turkey have? It's a bunch of different towns, and they dismantle these cruise ships. This ship, when it was launched, it could handle 282,000 passengers. Compare that now to the megaships of today that hold well over 6,000 passengers. But at its time, when it was released in 1988, that was more capacity than any other cruise ship. It was considered the first mega cruise ship. Now it's going to be disassembled there in Turkey. It seems like the scrap and shipyards in Turkey, they've got a big business going on. But there's another shipyard that's basically shutting down because they don't have enough money to run during the summer. This is the German shipbuilder Meyer Werft. They are furloughing staff for 6 weeks. They are citing some of the restructuring of debt as one of the reasons why they have to shut down. Cruise companies are slowing down their ability to pay and get cruise ships out. They're delaying when they want cruise ships out. And so this is making it hard for Meyer Werft there in Germany to pay the crew, to pay the staff, to pay the shipbuilders to build these ships. It is one of the leaders in shipbuilding for the last 30 years. And of course, it is hard hit by the pandemic. They're in Papenburg, Germany. Now, fortunately, it's not a straight 6-week shutdown for these workers. They're just tacking 3 extra weeks onto the standard summer holiday break of 3 weeks, but still a shutdown nonetheless. But just like every business during the shutdown time, Meyer Werft trying to control costs. They're trying to reduce their 5-year operating costs by $1.2 billion. And I've said it before, if you've worked in business at all, if you've had to make some of these decisions, one of the easiest levers to pull to save money from an operational perspective is to take it out of labor, to take it out of wages, because those costs are so variable and they're so easy to negate. But what stinks about that is we're talking about taking money away from people. But if the work's not there, the work's not there. So that's the justification. Meyer Werft, one of the leading shipbuilders in Germany, furloughing employees for 6 weeks. In more positive news, let me give a quick shout out to the Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line. They're a small cruise line here on the east coast of Florida. They operate 2 cruise ships, an old Carnival cruise ship, an old Costa cruise ship. They were one of the few cruise lines that were going to be ready to sail at the expiration of the CDC's no-sail order on the 24th of July. They were going to sail on the 25th of July, but due to the rise of the virus cases in Florida, they decided that they would move that out into August, and they talked about how their bookings were strong. Now, when the CDC extended their no-sail order all the way to September the 30th, this did affect the Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line, so they had to adjust their schedule. They will start cruising in October. The reason I want to call them out is they are one of the few cruise lines that during the time of the shutdown in the March and April time frame, they were one of the few cruise lines that submitted a plan to the CDC for the repatriation of their crew. They were one of the only cruise lines who submitted a repatriation plan to the CDC that got approved. 7 plans were submitted by April the 29th, 2020, all trying to get crew members home following CDC guidelines for repatriation. And Bahamas Paradise, they got the green light. And so they're very proud of that. They also have health protocols going forward that they feel confident with. And again, it's a small cruise line, 2 ships. They go primarily to the Bahamas. But challengingly, if you pile that onto yesterday's news that there's no American tourism to the Bahamas until further notice, I'm not sure what this means for Bahamas Paradise when they start cruising again in October. Fingers crossed that the Bahamas will be open back up and they can resume business. And let me share this other positive cruise news story with you. Let's go all the way to Turku, Finland, where there is another shipyard there, the Meyer Turku shipyard. They're building a ship that many people are anticipating, the Carnival Mardi Gras. And exciting news coming out of Turku, Finland. They done went and slapped the roller coaster tracks on the outside of the Mardi Gras. We've been following this roller coaster story for a while. This whole year of 2020 has been a roller coaster. And I tell you what, I'm excited to see what a roller coaster on a cruise ship looks like. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I know it's not everybody's bag. I know it's not how everybody wants to cruise. but I am fascinated by the engineering that could be put in place to put an electric roller coaster on the outside of the cruise ship. Now, the Mardi Gras scheduled to start sailing February 2021. It's going to be the next level for Carnival cruisers. They're going to a zone design very similar to the Oasis of the Seas neighborhood designs. They've got agreements, licensing agreements with some pretty big celebrities. Of course, Guy Fieri, Shaquille O'Neal, Emeril Lagasse. There's going to be a lot of fun things to do on this cruise ship, and it's the first one in the XL class. It's going to be using the LNG fuel system. A lot of cool stuff going on with the Carnival Mardi Gras. Finally, check this out. The Bolt roller coaster now has some track around the whale tail on the Carnival Mardi Gras. And of course, it begs the question. I'll throw it to you for some feedback. What's your most favorite thing to see on the top of a cruise ship? How do you want it to look? Let me give you some choices. Do you want the roller coaster? Do you want the go-karts? Do you want the water slide? Do you want the basketball court? Or do you want just the pool, the hot tub, and some deck chairs? What does that Lido life look like for you? Leave a comment below. Well, that's the cruise update. Please show your support for the channel by hitting the like button. Hope everybody has a great day out there. This is Tony for Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.